Hey, what's up, guys? It was probably a fool's errand to think that I could just come right home from vacation and come in here and slap all six of these together. What has happened is that I've gone ahead and sold this one, and um, I was thinking that the guys did not want me to offer these in 4K. This particular customer asked about that, and I said, well, yeah, um, it's possible, but I don't think they want me to do that. Let me check with them. So I checked with them, and they said, sure, that's fine. I'll be going into all of this in just a little bit when I get this one together and going over the differences. Anyway, I just wanted to show you I found some nice details just now. They have actually texturized the triggers and the latch for the magazine. They put texture on that too. And as far as the barrel seal, I've heard that Sapper Custom has their own barrel seal. I've never used one because I helped to develop those Magnus Op seals. Now, Bruce was telling me he likes to use ridiculous pressure, like 2200 psi. He was saying that that pressure blows Magnus Op seals and that he actually prefers Sapper Custom seal, and that is obviously what we have in here. So I'll get back with you guys when I'm a little bit further along. And they've indicated on and off on the power switch. That's what I was telling you about yesterday on the door. And I didn't realize it because they did such a neat job, but they've all got BB centering. And I'll reluctantly tell you, I have found a use for BB centering as far as the originals. If that pocket was too deep, I would have to replace the entire valve body. But if it had BB centering like this one, I could just tighten the screw down a little bit and save that valve body. And here's another little gem. This is the 4-hole high flow chrome valve. Now when I do builds, Superbird builds for people, I'll offer this valve for $25 extra, but they've gone ahead and just put them in these replicas. All right. Well, I've finally gotten one together. I still need to do a little bit of work on it because I need to build the magazine, as he asked for me to go ahead and just 4K this one. I didn't think it'd be any kind of an issue because I mean these are about identical to blackbirds, and so this is the one that I just put together, and this barrel shroud comes off, and he sent either a black or a blaze orange bird cage, so you get to pick between one of those. It comes with an 88 gram CO2 adapter. All right, what's different? Okay, well obviously this top rail is different. It does not use the same plastic rail that a Blackbird does. This is aluminum, and it goes from here to here. So it gives you a little bit better sight picture. It's better to aim than a Blackbird because a Blackbird is about only that long. So you try to put a front and a rear sight in there, and it's not really going to do you much good. But whether or not you think a sight is very important on these guns is, you know, up to you. I don't really think they're that important, but we do have flip-up sights for these. Let me just figure out how to work it. Okay, yeah. As opposed to the sights on a stock Blackbird. So we can fold these down, take them off, put a scope on here, whatever we want to do. I've told you guys before, I've not really been fans of scopes on these. I didn't until I tried it. And it's kind of nice having a 4-power scope on one of these because you get to be up close to what you're blasting. So that's kind of fun. And of course, for getting your first shot on target, they're also nice. It comes with the stock adapter, which a Blackbird would not come with. These come with the Aero 15 collapsible stocks, and so that's included. You wouldn't get that from a Blackbird, nor would you get the 400 millimeter barrel with a shroud and various things for the muzzle. There are a lot of different options that you can get to put on the ends of these barrels. You can just email Sapper Custom to see what he's got available if you wanted something more than this. This, to me, I wouldn't really particularly want anything else. They do have small fake suppressors, and then they get the big fat ones that can go on either way. I do kind of like the small fake suppressors. You've seen some of those on Freebird and some of the Freebird videos posted a few months ago now. Let's see. A stock Blackbird would not come with that, and it would not come with Sergey's board, most of all, and it wouldn't even come full auto. The closest thing that we would do to that would be the full auto chip, which changes your rate of fire to 300, 600, and 1200 rounds a minute, and it just changes that on the board. So all the hardware stays the same. With this, our sliders have been replaced with these plugs that say cool stuff on them. Like this is actually the RBB 20,001. I'm going to shorten this cord up a little more when I get in there. I like to have them just come out, go right up. It's got the swivel here that you wouldn't get, and as well as the checkered latch, textured trigger, and high flow valve. So you really do get a lot. And this one has a 4K board in it, but the rest of them, unless somebody else wants one of them 4K, are going to have the same circuit board in them. It would just be with different programming. And the board intended for the replicas has fire rates of 500 to 1200 and 100 increments. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are your fire rates for the standard replica Blackbird. And it's all digital. You've got a display. I was just looking at it, and he's actually got half milliseconds on that one too. The standard 4K Blackbird does not have half milliseconds, and it starts at 4. It's not really an issue, and I don't think having half milliseconds will be a big issue, a big added bonus to something that is not as powerful as, like, a Super Bird, because the higher in fire rates you get, the more important it is. Excuse me. So, yeah, I'm going to talk to him. Maybe I can get him to put in half milliseconds on 4K. I do not have that yet, though. One of the reasons that I was thinking that they didn't want me to do 4K in these guns was I thought that they wanted to have something to just compete with a blackbird, and there's not really much competition for selling blackbirds in the U.S. anyway because of sanctions. I've also heard rumors that the company or the factory that makes them, I'm not sure what else they make. It's by Cal now. I know they make shotguns, but or even if it's just a specific factory that's shutting down, but they do think that's on the way. So I'm not really sure how much longer you're going to be able to even find a blackbird, other than finding a used one. Let's see. Well, anyway, yeah. So they did give me the okay on that. Now, making one 4K adds a lot to the price of one of these because you've already got all this stuff with it, and then it's all the work that goes into the magazine on top of that, and a few other things that have to happen. So I just didn't even think anybody would have any interest in it, but right out of the gate, the guy wants me to do this one in 4K, and the other guys don't have any problem with it, so that's also on the table now. But we kind of just wanted to put out something base because it goes from like a stock blackbird to full auto blackbird with the mod chip, and then there wasn't anything. Well, then you had Sergey's board, and then I came along and worked that out and made it 4K all the way up to 8K. And then there was Superbird. Then we came out with our own gun. I don't have one of those here today. A lot of you guys know what it is, but there's several of you who've been asking me about it. If you just go back through my channel and just type in Freebird or whatever, or just look through the videos on my channel that have Freebird in them, you'll see what it is. And that's even, it has even more functions than a Superbird. And I do have a Superbird here to just show you how similar they are. In this one I had them dip the stock or the furniture in the same as this one was done in. So we'll get a close up and we'll just see how similar these two are. Each replica, if I didn't already mention, it comes with its own soft case. But there is the replica, and then there is the real McCoy with a Drawsmax SMG barrel on it. And this was designed to, with that in mind, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, kind of like a tribute to the Jim C barrel that was co-opted, let's say, by Drawsmax and now imitated by the Russians. These barrels are extremely high quality barrels. I think they're actually tighter bore than the Drawsmax barrels, which is pretty doggone incredible. But I have done BB tests on them in the past, dropping BBs down these when I first started to mess around with them. And it takes like half a day for a BB to go all the way down it with your finger on the same side. It's crazy. And I might do that test sometime in the near future. It's hard for me to even find my old videos. I got so many of them. But yeah, here's what I started doing with the Superbirds. I'd offer this aluminum rail that takes advantage of this small dovetail that is on the frame of a Blackbird, and any draws actually. I just didn't like the plastic rail that was there. I had a scope that, as some of you know, on the factory rail it's plastic and it comes up and then it comes back. I had a scope with eye relief that was like 1.5 inches. So I had the scope mounted all the way back here and he's just flopping along in the breeze. But yeah, so there's no swivel on here. It's got the same stock adapter, an older version. I think, yeah, they must be anodizing them now. That's just painted. But let's talk a little bit more about what it was meant to be. The Replica, you can only run these off of 6 14500s or an external battery pack, which this one is not wired up for. I don't really like external battery packs because you got something else just flopping around in the breeze. And we can get away with using 6 of the 14500s in the battery compartment. But with the Replica, we can actually use AA's, and we can either use AA's or we can use 3 14500s if we bridge two of the terminals in. Oh yeah, I didn't show you guys this. If we bridge two of the terminals in one half of the battery compartment. Hi. So the Replicas will be able to run off of AA's, 14500s, CO2, or air. And that's why they have a lower fire rate. It's just so they'll be able to do more. They're a lot more versatile when you think about it. And 1,200 rounds a minute is nothing to sneeze at. I don't think you're going to be able to reliably do that with AA's, but you do have all those other lower fire rates. And as we test those a little bit more, we'll figure out, what is the highest fire rate that it works best at using AA's. But I mean, why not use 14500s? You don't ever have to throw them away. And good Lord, I've been doing this, 7 years, and I've probably been using 14500s for at least 5, and I've still got my first set, and they still work fine for a Superbird. So they're not expensive. They're like, maybe $4 a piece, and then a lithium ion charger, and you're good to go. Let's walk over here. I was in the process of making tubes to bridge two of the terminals for using the 3 14500s. What I do is I cap these off and solder the caps on, and then you just drop this down in there. You can use dummy AA's, but they're kind of expensive actually, and you want as few connections as possible when you're talking about stacking up batteries. So this gets rid of 2 of those connections, and it gives you a nice solid copper connection between your 2 terminals. So I do sell these for $10 a piece in case you don't want to make one. You got to know the measurements to make one of these, I'll tell you that, if you want to do it yourself. But, $10, hey, why not? All right, now here is one of the boards for Replica, and I'll go ahead and show you. So it is Sergey's board. I could take this board and reprogram it for 4K or whatever if I have the program. And that's one of the reasons, you don't even know this, but I'm able to 4K one of the Replicas for cheaper than I am able to 4K a Blackbird, because a lot of the parts are there already, like the circuit board, but there is a lot of labor. Okay, let me see if I can set you up. Hang on. Okay, so with any Sergey's board, this is your burst rate, and all of them have 1 to 10 round burst. That's your first button farthest away from the display, and then you have full auto. The second button is our rate of fire, and there we start at 500, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1200 rounds a minute. So we gave you a lot of different lower fire rates, which are fun to play around with. You can pretty much imitate just about any kind of a machine gun sound you want with those fire rates. And here's our pulse width duration. And he gave us half milliseconds starting at 3 all the way to 12. And with 1200 rounds a minute, you could probably be on 12 and it wouldn't interfere with anything. It would just be wasting air. Again, anything over 7, especially with these 400 millimeter barrels, is just going to be wasting air. What this is, it's how long electricity current is supplied to the solenoid, and it's represented in milliseconds, in half milliseconds. So it's not how long the valve is open, it is how long the solenoid has juice to it. So 3.5, that's 3.5 milliseconds juice is going to the solenoid for each shot. So that's where we are with the replicas. I am very proud to be able to offer these to you guys. And we've also got this rail down here that I forgot to mention. It is also aluminum. And you get a lot more in the replicas than you do from the genuine artifact. It's pretty crazy. And they've done some really, really fine work in there. I am blown away with what they did. And I know I've gotten kind of long-winded, especially here lately with my videos, but there's a lot to talk about. And off camera, I talk to you guys on email all the time, and any more questions you have about the replicas, hit me up. I know you're going to ask me about price for the replica, like as you see it here, with the 1200 round a minute board, with everything else, including the adapter and bird cage stock, it's $1,100 plus shipping, which, I mean, that's a bargain, I believe. I've been doing this a long time, and I know I say that I'm not like, don't really like eye candy, but I really do like small details, like the texturizing on the trigger, and just the plugs. I really do like small details, so I mean, kudos to them. And the checkering on the lash plate, that's really awesome too. But yeah, I'll be listening out for your emails. Let me know if you want one. There's now 5 left. If this guy comes through on this one, hope he does. But I really don't think these are going to be around very long. Whenever I do get a batch like this, whenever I would get, 5 or so blackbirds or whatever in, and then modify them, we're all gone in about a week. But this is something different. This is new, and I'm very proud to be offering it. All right, later.